So I've heard the term wife guy thrown around, especially uh, during that one fiasco with Okaro, Scurvy, and actually, all three of you guys, and whoever that one dude on X Twitter was. I want to make sure
There's
we understand. Yeah,
he is an Orthodox Christian, but the wife guy thing kind of goes against what a man should be in the role of marriage. It's like you shouldn't be you shouldn't be a buck broken little simp for your wife. You should love
okay.
your wife, but you shouldn't be a buck broken simp for her. I would define wife guy as that as it is now, because originally when the term was made, it was about, it was made by groypers who were making fun of guys who actually love their wives in the proper biblical sense, and they like talking about their family. Could say a little bit too much, but that's a different thing
Okay.
entirely.
All right. Ark, do you agree with Scurvy on this, on that definition, both how it's applied now and what it really meant?
So all I've really gathered is it just means you're simpy for your wife. So I guess I
As
agree
it's
with that.
currently applied. Yeah. So here's my hot take. Given the original definition that Scurvy explained, I don't actually see the issue in being a wife guy per se, in the sense that I think a woman's retardation can be very endearing. Of course, that doesn't mean you should give her power, because then it becomes destructive.
Yep.
Are we? Wait, is that? I'm kind of confused now. Like, are we talking about women being retarded, or are we talking about simping for your wife?
A little bit of both.
I mean, they're not even close to the same thing. Like, I wouldn't call a guy who just called his wife really dumb to be a wife guy. That wouldn't be the first thing that crosses my mind. I'm lost.
Well, no, that's kind of the point, because there's how that's being applied, which is basically just being the husband being submissive to the wife. And then there's what it originally meant, as Scurvy was describing, groypers were using to poke fun at men who found the retardation of their wives endearing. I didn't phrase it exactly as you said, Scurvy, but I hoped I at least paraphrased it well enough to...
No, you got it. You got it.
Okay. So my hot take, if it's a hot take, is that it is shameful to be a wife guy in the current application, but as originally applied by the groypers, I think that's a compliment.
I see. I see.
What is the groyper definition exactly?
I'll explain it again. Basically, the groypers were calling people who found, their wives' oddities to be endearing, and they were like, and because the guys would post about it on social media, the groypers were like, oh wow, look at this guy right here. He simps for his wife, when it's like, no, that's not what those people were. That's not what those people were doing. They were just making observations about their wives. And could they get a little out of hand? A little bit. That wasn't until the current wave of wife guys started, just taking that whole thing to be like, oh, I love my wife. She's my whole world, and it's just simping. It's just a bunch of sympatry.
Okay. That's a really strange reason to start that trend or come up with that word. If it's just finding your wife's oddities endearing, like that's where wife guy came from. That's
It's
really
groypers,
strange.
man.
Yeah,
It's
even
groypers.
Fuentes doesn't like his own followers. And I just think,
Yeah,
like,
no shit.
if your own leader doesn't like you, just what are you people even for? Appreciating ditziness in women. That's actually one of the things I like so much about Urza from Fairy Tale. Like, she's not just, you guys know what I like, redheads, and, she's in shape and all that. But her personality is like that of like she's very strong, but still feminine. It's more like a reinforced femininity. And the things that she wants most out of life have nothing to do with battling. Like her favorite activity is going on picnics.
You're joking, right?
I've always dreamed of having one. A picnic.
And oftentimes she
Yeah.
is really spacey and like kind of dumb, like really dumb.
You'd
And-
probably like Jacko from Guilty Gear then. She's a redhead, also ditzy, strong, but also very feminine.
Hmm.
I
would-
like Jacko.
I would I don't want to say simp, but you know, if Urza were a real person, I'd be all over that. Like I would actually enjoy her company. I don't think she would even be the type to like nag me about shit. I think she only does that in the show because she's surrounded by people who are just as dumb as she is. But I don't really see her as being a nag really. So yeah, I would actually enjoy her company, and I would not simp for her outright, but you know, I would be happy to tell people that I like her, you know. But wife guys, as I think of them, are just straight up simps. My wife is the best. My wife always knows what she's talking about. I clashed with my own cousin about this subject. He's not even married. He's just with the same woman for I don't even know how long, 10 years now. He said that to me once. He said, like, because we were arguing about his sister, who's a complete fucking psycho. We were arguing about her. And at one point, I brought his girlfriend into the discussion. I don't remember what I said exactly, but he's like, well, it might not be a great idea to bring her into this because she tends to never be wrong about anything. And I was just like, you weak, pathetic man. I lost so much respect for you in the last 5 seconds. Holy shit. Yeah, straight up simping like that. Fuck off. You're basically a woman yourself if you simp like that for your woman. But the occasional like, I like this about my woman is fine. Just don't portray her as like she's flawless or anything close to that, because that's horseshit.
Not even the prophets of old were without fault.
Yeah.
So that's to imply any one person or a group of people in your life, to hold them to such a standard, I'm pretty sure we would call that idolatry.
That is the wife guy
Correct me
though, like idolizing their woman. And let's be honest,
Yeah,
they don't really deep down, they're just scared of what she'll do if they don't worship the ground she walks on. It's fear. It's not genuine.
And the thing is, it's like that in itself is not what a man should be doing in a marriage. It's like he is not the one who's supposed to be like the door, like he's not supposed to be a doormat. Like he's the one that should be having, you know, or as the kids say, wearing the pants in the relationship. But in regards to that whole like the whole simping thing, especially in regards to marriage, it's just like, also a lot of the guys, I think this is a phrase that I've heard a lot, and like from this one guy's channel. His name is Divine. I think he's Orthodox, but I hear him say the phrase, it's like, you know, like, and he's usually talking about like, you know, the Protestant pastors who basically let their daughters just kind of do whatever the fuck they want. But he says, you know, these pastors, like they lust after their wives. Like the only reason why they're even doing all this simping stuff is because it's like that's all he values is just the old in and out. Like, and if he doesn't comply with her, that means he's not going to be able to do the old in and out on a regular basis. So, but the thing is, women also don't find that attractive, and that's also not like what is expected of a marriage is just like the man to just be dominated by lust. Um, don't get me wrong, it's like, sex is supposed to happen in a marriage. Like the husband and the wife shouldn't be denying themselves, but if you two are going to have like a period of abstinence, that's something you need to discuss. She can't just go cold turkey on you, but you also can't be so reliant. You also can't be so reliant on sex, and to the point where it's like that's all. It basically controls your life and your marriage, and that will impact your ability to actually lead in the marriage.
Yeah, they're basically spiritual virgins, even though they're married with kids. They're still basically virgins in that they think the greatest thing there is getting laid. That's really what it is. Like, that's what they are afraid of, is no longer having access to sex. That's what controls them. It just straight up controls them. And I think what really makes a man, or at least the easiest way to tell a real man apart from a weak man, the quickest way, can he leave his woman? Could he just leave her? Yes or no? That's the distinction. Any man who could not leave his woman, no matter what she did. And I've actually heard a pastor say, he was like giving a lesson about something in Genesis. Anyway, doesn't matter. He said, like, if my wife cheated on me, I would forgive her. And I told her that I would forgive her. And I just thought, you pathetic moron. You basically just gave your wife a free pass to cheat on you because she knows you'll forgive her. Why would you do that?
I can tell, but I would say you could like forgiveness. You shouldn't forgive that immediately. I still think the wiser move, because she is the one who, by cheating, destroyed the marriage. So in a just world, it would be the father who would get custody of the kids, because he's still he still has stake in it, because he's actually still interested in maintaining the family. He would get custody, and in due time he would forgive her, but doesn't mean that he'll take her back. I would recommend that he shouldn't.
I don't think any man with self-respect would. Well, that's the key, self-respect.
It's also just a moral thing, too. It's not just about self-respect. Like, morally, I think you are obligated to take off if your partner cheats on you, if they betray you. You should take off, whether you have kids or not. They already destroyed it. They already destroyed the sanctity of the relationship. You're supposed to be one flesh. It's already
I'm basically
destroyed.
arguing that you should take off with the kids. Well, not like kidnap them, but Yeah,
you should have custody of them.
Yeah, you should have custody. I think custody, like in terms of custody battles, I think the father should be the one who earns custody most of the time. I'm learning more and more that it's like, yes, children need their mother and their father, but they especially need their father, especially by the time they're age 5 or above. That's when dad needs to be. That's when dad really needs to be in the picture.
Yeah, one of the unfortunate things about being a woman is, when you really think about it, and maybe you guys haven't thought about this before, but you're supposed to be taking care of infants and toddlers your whole life. Like, first it's your own, like you're supposed to have as many as you can yourself, and then you're also taking care of your own siblings' kids, maybe the occasional friend's kids. Then your kids grow up, and then they have their own kids, and now you're taking care of grandkids, and so on. The whole network, your immediate family, your household, and then your relatives, sometimes your friends, sometimes your neighbors. But you're basically supposed to be taking care of tiny people your whole life. Women are not meant to raise people past that age. Past that age, it's the man's turn to teach them things. It's the man's turn to truly be the one raising them. Whereas the woman is more geared for making sure they don't kill themselves by trying to eat a battery or something. And also giving birth to them in the first place. I mean, it sucks, but that really is the natural order there. After a certain age, the one who should be doing the heavy lifting as far as raising them goes is the father. That's why kids of single fathers turn out better than those of single mothers.
Yep.
I'm just a woman. And as a woman, there's no way for me to make my own money. Not enough to earn a living or to support my family. And if I had my own money, which I don't, that money would belong to my husband the moment we got married. And if we had children, they would be his, not mine. They would be his property. So don't sit there and tell me that marriage isn't an economic proposition, because it is. It may not be for you, but it most certainly is for me.